Welcome to RetroLogic, episode 57. I'm Dan Caparello, here with Sam Wagers and very special guest from the All In podcast, Seth Sturgill. We are yet again Johnless this evening, and I hope that this is not a trend that we see very often. I can assure you that he's doing well. He just has some stuff come up, and honestly, for never missing a show, he's allowed to miss 2 in a row, I think. What do you guys think?
He'll be all right. We'll keep him.
He'll be all right, yeah. We'll welcome him back with open arms, and he can tell us all about his escapades when he comes back. But RetroLogic isn't just a podcast. It's also a retro game store. You can visit retrologic.games, check out our growing inventory of clean, tested, authentic games, fair trade fabric t-shirts with cool logos and stuff on them, holographic stickers featuring controllers and all kinds of stuff. And you can join our 100% non-toxic Discord community for even more retro gaming fun. But guys, how's it going? What's going on, you guys? Sam, what's been going on with you, dude?
Well, I have to admit, I'm a little intimidated by the amount of beard looking at me from the other side of the screen.
Yeah,
fair.
That does happen.
Those who cannot see it, Dan and Seth both have very prodigious beards. Meanwhile, I am what passes for clean-shaven in this work-from-home age.
That's a couple days removed from shaving. Is that what that is?
I shaved Sunday.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Yeah, the beard started with COVID and hasn't stopped yet for me. But I think Seth has been going way longer than me. A couple of years now.
Oh, dude. I've worn a beard for like 15 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've worn a beard for a long time. This is the longest it's been in a minute. It's fairly wizard length right now. It needs a trim.
You get that thing braided.
Yeah, I could.
Could and should.
And maybe will.
Yeah. Yeah. Be a nice project for your wife.
She would love that.
Seth, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about what All In is, and then you can spell it for them because I know that's a thing, and then then we'll jump into our icebreakers.
Yeah, sure, man. It's always awesome to hang out with you guys. Just always a treat. I was telling you when we met just in IRL in space recently.
Yeah,
that was awesome. I had a little vacation in Austin, and we got a chance to link up and meet. And that was awesome. And as I told you then, I was like, if I go more than like a few months between RetroLogic appearances, I start to have the withdrawals. I'm like, I can't go too long, you know. So always happy to be here.
Awesome. Definitely a friend of the podcast, Seth.
Yeah, yeah, I appreciate that. All In, that's ALLN, and yeah, we like to spell it because we did have somebody say like, hey, we found you guys through like Nintendo Dads or whatever it was, but I was looking for All In and like all this different stuff. So yeah, it's All N, like the letter N. A Nintendo podcast. It is a weekly Nintendo variety show that I do with my good friend and wonderful co-host Eric. We do that every Saturday, and it is a segment-based variety show where we cover different facets of being a Nintendo fan. So, like any good podcast, we talk about, news and what we've been playing and all this stuff. But we also kind of have a rotating set of segments. Every week we cover an awesome independent game on the Switch eShop. Every week we do a top 5, and we kind of have like another rotating segment, either a retrospective or review, an interview or whatever. So we just try to shake it up every week, and we have a lot of fun doing that every single Saturday. All In, a Nintendo podcast on all of your podcast feeds.
Excellent. You guys pour a lot of hard work into that podcast, and definitely deserves to be listened to. So I hope everybody listening can go check you guys out, fall in love with you just like I did, and then just be longtime fans.
Appreciate that.
The other thing I wanted to talk about before we do the icebreaker is that we have a new post on the blog that written by Sam. It is the third entry in the comparison between all of the Nintendo consoles that offer retro games digitally. And Sam, why don't you just take a second, tell us a little bit about that? It came out last week, but I really want to make sure that everybody knows about it.
Yeah, so I kind of broke down this big list of all the retro games and all the different forms they exist on the Switch. So re-releases, even some remasters, collections, stuff that's on the eShop, and stuff that's on the NSO apps, and kind of just kind of looked at some different trends. So first, I kind of just looked at how does that stack up for versus the Wii, the Wii U, the 3DS, where most of it was on the Virtual Console. But even then, also including like what collections existed there. And then the second part was looking at platform, and you kind of see a big drop off when it gets to some of the stuff past the N64. We're starting to see a little catch up there, but like traditionally, that is where interest in retro kind of dies, at least according to the people making these decisions. But the last one, I'm actually looking at how different companies have approached this over time. So you see some interesting trends where you have some companies like Sega that were very involved in the beginning, but then completely abandoned the Wii U for the most part. And they have kind of come back to the Switch in different ways. You have other companies like Capcom who have actually just increased their output across everything chronologically, as well as Nintendo themselves has increased their output through everything chronologically. So it's kind of interesting. And then you look at kind of the ways the situations with those companies have changed, and it makes sense of some different things. So I thought it was interesting, and I think other people will find that interesting too.
Yes. And you can find all of that at retrologics.game/blog. And actually, that reminds me that I need to make the cover art for it. So I'm going to do that right after the show, and then it'll be updated for all you people to have a nice little cover art piece to look at, so it's not just words. That's totally my bad. I actually have been traveling a lot for work. I was on 3 separate work-related trips over the past 2 weeks, and it just kind of threw everything off. And then I got my COVID shot today, my second one, and now I'm like fatigued beyond belief. But we're here, we're doing the show, and nothing is going to stop the train. So, steamrolling right ahead, recklessly, we're going to go into our icebreakers, which is what did you buy? What did you play this week? And as always, we're going to start with our guest, which is the amazing Seth. Why don't you go ahead and tell us what you bought, what you played this week, and we'll go around the horn.
Yeah, sure. I'll be quick because, as I said, I've been out of town. Just got back from Austin just a couple of days ago. But while I was there, I did stop by Game Over Video Games. At your recommendation.
Oh yeah.
And was very impressed. It's a very like clean, well put together store. I went to the one, I think there's 2 locations if I'm not mistaken. And the one that I went to, I think is technically in like Round Rock or something like that.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah. So we stopped in there, very clean, very like well put together. To be honest, it's kind of like the state of a lot of retro shops now where the really high dollar stuff is high dollar and like ridiculous. And then the rest is kind of like, I kind of like rifled through the sections a little bit and saw what there was to see. But wound up grabbing Jade Empire Limited Edition for the original Xbox. I've been kind of getting more into original Xbox. It is a system that I have a lot of fondness for. I don't ever really get to talk about it. And it's a system that I really, really love and have a lot of nostalgia for. And I've been kind of picking up games from the original Xbox lately. And so they had a couple of copies actually of the Jade Empire Limited Edition, which is nothing more than just the game. And it has like a behind the scenes DVD. There's a character that I didn't realize was initially exclusive to the limited edition that they have in there. So it was kind of cool to grab that. It's like a pretty hollow foil cover. And then I ordered off of Mercari recently after you and I were talking about it a little bit on Twitter, Dan, Phantom Dust.
Oh, yeah.
I realized I didn't have it in my collection anymore. And that's a game that I love. It's like in my top 5 favorite original Xbox games. Excellent, severely underrated game. And I grabbed it on Mercari for like $10, So
good.
That was waiting on me when I got home, and I'm very happy to have that back in the collection. So didn't buy a lot, but definitely wanted to pop in and support the local retro store. In terms of what I'm playing, I've been playing Animal Crossing a whole bunch. My wife and I got back into it, like a lot of people, I think, with the big update. So we've been enjoying that. I finally can stop yelling and begging them to add Brewster to the game because now Brewster is in the game, and that makes me happy.
That was a popular decision for sure.
But I really like it. It's not, it's what I know. There's like a whole side conversation about NSO and is it worth it and blah blah blah. But I really enjoy it personally, and the update has really brought me back in. As a result, I guess I should I'm looking at my list here. I'm like, I should really just blame the RetroLogic Discord for like 90% of this because
that's a dangerous place, my friend.
Because we got to talking, I think it was with Liam about Borderlands recently.
Oh yeah,
and I noticed that the big collection that's on Switch was on sale for $20.
Oh yeah,
so I grabbed that and I've been playing Borderlands 2. I was streaming it earlier today, just like, it's Borderlands 2. It's a great game. Runs shockingly well on Switch. So,
it's wonderful. It's a great port.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a great port. And then I've been playing this little indie game. I've actually played through it twice already. This little indie game called Unpacking that I've been looking forward to for a really long time. And we're going to cover it on the show this week on All In. But it's like a kind of Zen-like puzzle game with this like really pretty pixel art and like just kind of cozy vibes. And it's all about you're going through like the different phases of this character's life and unpacking their various rooms. So you start out in like 1997 and you're taking out of boxes, like you're pulling out a Game Boy, a Tamagotchi, and stuff like this. And you're setting it up in your room. You're putting Lisa Frank posters on the wall, stuff like that. And it's very like nostalgic. And then you go through like the next chapter of it's in like, the mid 2000s where all of a sudden this character's setting up their college dorm and stuff like that. So it's all about like unpacking and putting things where they need to go. And it's kind of like chill and satisfying and like Zen-like and also intensely nostalgic. I really, really like it a lot.
Interesting.
It's simple, but I really like it.
Is it expensive?
So no, I think it's either $14.99 or $19.99. I think.
Okay.
My first playthrough took me like 4 hours. There's a little bit of replay incentive, but like my wife's playing it and stuff, and it's just, I don't know, it's just a lot of fun. There's like a really cool photo mode in there, and they also do this cool thing where when you finish the level, they will play back like in like a sped up mode. They will play back the you placing everything in the room.
Oh, I love that. So
just really quickly you can see everything, going all around the room. It's really cool.
That was
I like it a lot.
That's a feature in Pikmin 3 that I really love, is seeing like, I was so efficient. Look at how well I did like in the last like 2 seconds of the game.
Yeah, that's what I've been up to though in terms of games. I really do like Unpacking. I recommend people checking that out.
Cool. Awesome. That really piqued my interest. And we got to talk a little bit more about Borderlands on Discord. I think we're going to try to set up some games now that Liam is in. Yeah. And I convinced my brother to buy it, and then we never played. So,
there we go. That's 4 players.
I know, and I'm totally in on a new playthrough. I've done it with 2 characters. I'm ready for a third.
Yeah, dude. I'm all in even.
Yeah, there you go. Well, there you go. All right, Sam, what did you buy? What did you play this week?
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot as far as buying. My copy of Maximo Army of Zin that I ordered last week still hasn't arrived. I think it's due in tomorrow. So that'll be cool. I did have one other thing, but I'm just going to wait to talk about it until I get my hands on it.
Okay.
I tend to hold off on some of those online orders. You never know if something's going to just fall through. The seller's going to back off or something.
Yeah.
But I have been playing a lot because Extra Life was this weekend, and I was playing for 7 hours, filling in.
Oh my gosh, man!
Dad's team.
It's a long time, dude. I've been there.
The Nintendo Dad's team actually covered basically the entire weekend. I believe Marty started at 6 p.m. Friday, and Tim carried it through to midnight Sunday. Midnight Sunday night into Monday. So, I was streaming from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m., and that is 7 hours, which I didn't realize when I picked that time initially, but I followed through with it.
That's pretty crazy.
Because daylight savings time ended Sunday, and so 9 p.m. Saturday to 3 a.m. Sunday is 7 hours. So fittingly, I ended my stream with a game that involves time travel and takes place at 3 a.m. initially.
Well, there you go.
Time for the Super
Love
Nintendo. But I also played through Plock. I actually beat Plock twice in the past week.
Oh my
Oh
gosh.
my
Get some practice
gosh.
in on Wednesday, and I beat the game again because I really wanted to make sure that I was capable of beating the game on stream.
Jeez, man.
champion.
So I
The
beat
champion.
Plock about
Seriously.
2 hours into that stream, a little over 2 hours in.
Amazing.
Continued on to Mega Man X because when you're playing games for 7 hours, you got to dust off an old favorite. So I played through all of that, and I also played Mario and Wario for the
Yes.
Super Nintendo.
Wonderful.
Which I hadn't really had a chance to play yet. That was a lot of fun. I almost got through it, but my brain was not ready for even relatively simple puzzle games at 2:30 a.m. So
Oh
I
my
just
gosh.
gave up. I was halfway through World 9, which is the last one, as far as I know. It actually lets you play the levels in order, sort of like Mega Man. And there's 8 of them, and then you unlock the last one. And I got to like 9-5, because each level consists of basically like 10 different stages or puzzles.
Sure.
And I just was like, okay, Turtles in Time now. I'm done.
Yes. Oh,
But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I did meet my fundraising goal, exceeded my fundraising goal of $333, raised a total of $366.
awesome, man.
Children's Hospital.
That's awesome,
So,
dude.
That was great.
Man,
Thanks to everybody that turned out. There
Yeah.
were a lot of people in the chat. Really appreciate it.
next year I really got to make an effort to be part of that. I just was traveling
too.
so much that it just wasn't going to be possible for me to. But I definitely saw you guys doing it and kicking butt and super supported you guys. Sam, I can't believe you beat it twice. Plock.
Yeah. And on stream, I actually beat it without continuing.
Incredible.
No
you're
Plock
becoming
continued.
the Plock savant is what you are.
Yeah.
I feel like Plock is a game that, like, especially when you get to those last levels in the flea pit, it kind of like forces mastery. Like, if you can beat those levels once, you can beat them as many times as you need to.
Right.
Because
Sure.
the way a lot of those end levels are structured is it actually goes through very similar sequences and makes them harder each time. So if you've like beaten a specific stage, like the first half of it is going to be easy the next time you play it.
Got it.
Second
Yeah.
half of it might not be so easy, but like, you know, you beat it once, you can beat it again, I think. I think the game is very much built that way. But yeah, and then the other thing, just today, I started playing some Metal Walker for the Game Boy Color.
Oh yeah.
Operator.
How is that going?
It's pretty great. I just got like half an hour in, got the first core. For people who know what Metal Walker is about, you're kind of collecting these cores that upgrade your robot. It's just such a fun, different kind of take on Pokemon meets marbles meets billiards.
Like you do.
Okay.
Classic
Interesting.
combination.
Yeah, totally. Definitely a Sam game. Awesome. Good deal, Sam. Thank you. Well, I didn't play very much this week, as I was talking about, but I did beat Metroid Dread finally.
Yes.
Easily my game of the year, just without even thinking about it.
It's really good.
Nothing impacted me this year quite as much as that did. No spoilers or anything. I was literally in my head thinking like I'm not going to beat this final boss. I'm going to give up and watch the ending on YouTube because I can't beat it. I kept trying, it's just, and those bosses they like almost require multiple playthroughs because you kind of have to know what's coming, master the certain patterns and everything. And then trying to say this without spoiling anything. Okay. After you fight the boss, there's like a sequence, and I died during that sequence, and I thought I would have to do everything all over again, and I was about to cry, and then it reloaded at that sequence, and I was like, okay, thank God. Jeez, that would have made me give up. That would have been like, no, I'm out. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
So they were smart with that.
It's funny that you say that too, because like Sam just touched on, I feel like Metroid Dread is another one of those games where, like, once you have done it, it kind of is just kind of muscle memory. Because I mean, I fought that final boss probably, I don't know, 6 or 7 times. But when I did my final the run where I actually took the final boss down, I don't think I got touched at all until the final phase, because at that point I had so much muscle memory.
I was probably up to 20 tries when I finally beat him. That for some reason, well, part of it is, I don't want to spoil anything. There's a certain thing you have to do with this boss that I wasn't doing almost at all throughout the entire game. And that was like such a hard transition for me, I guess, to like do that thing. Anyway, I don't want to spoil anything, so we're not going to talk about it anymore. Maybe we'll have a spoiler cast or something, but I don't know. It's not retro enough for us.
Yes.
But I also, and then once I beat that, I also was able to pop a few hours into Cruisin' Blast finally, which I bought at launch but never actually played. And man, just getting so many hard Excite Truck vibes from this game. Yeah, and that makes me so happy. It's super arcadey, over the top, wacky, like, all the paint jobs are just like ridiculous and gaudy, and everything explodes, and like literally you're driving down a hill and then the ground beneath you just falls away, and now you're falling into a pit, into a volcano, and then you come up UFO. And now there's UFOs and dinosaurs, and it's it's my kind of game. It's the best, just stupid, over the top, ridiculous game. Having a ton of fun with that one. Really glad that they brought that to console, honestly, because it was stuck in arcades for so long.
Yeah, I was going to say, actually, I played the arcade version of it when I was in Austin at Pinballs. They have it at Pinballs.
Yeah, that's where I played it too. And fell in love with it there too, and was hoping it would come to Switch, and glad they did it. And it's like $40. And I don't know if Best Buy's still doing it, but Best Buy was doing buy Cruisin' Blast and you get $10 gift card. Right. And it's like, that's like a no-brainer. Physical copy of Cruisin' Blast for $30, basically. So that's all of our icebreaker dealios for right now. Let's jump into some Prices Retro, guys. What do you think? All right, if this is your first time playing with us, I'm going to tell you how it goes. I'm going to list off 4 or 5 games, condition, console, all that stuff, and you're going to guess how much the games are worth in total, every game in total, dollars and cents. And we're all going to guess, and we're all going to have our own lists, and then whoever is closest guessing the actual price of each lot wins that lot. Whoever gets the closest throughout wins the game. We have Poltergeist, who is a ghost who plays with us. He always guesses 300. I don't know why. It's just, maybe something about unfinished business. Who knows? And we have quite a number of guest lists this week. I have 3 guests, three community members who sent me a list for us to guess, plus Seth. Plus a special game at the end of this game, which I totally forgot to do last time and was berated for it. And so I'm going to make sure, Flightsy, I get your game in here because I really want to do it. Okay. So, I'm going to go first. It's just how it is.
Sure.
I did all Xbox games, so there's my theme.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. You inspired me. We're gonna do. We're gonna start with Ninja Gaiden Black for the Xbox complete. Fable: The Lost Chapters Xbox complete. Jade Empire. Oops, hold on. Okay. Oh well. Jade Empire Limited Edition for the Xbox complete. I changed it.
Hey, I know that one.
You got that one. And then I forgot to change it in my notes, so we're just gonna go with it now. That's just how that goes. You have a little one up on me. Forza Motorsport. Yeah. Forza Motorsport for the Xbox complete in box. That's it. That is all.
Okay.
I'm gonna guess $90.
Okay.
I'm gonna go 65.
Actual retail price is $53.72. Seth,
Boom.
kicking butt already. I didn't know if you guys would be like, what are something here's a trick or not or what, but the highest valued one here is Ninja Gaiden Black complete, which is $29.39.
Oh wow. Really?
Yep.
I thought it would be Fable. Okay.
Fable Lost Chapters is $8. It's a cheapo.
Dang.
I actually
I
just
felt
bought.
like Ninja Gaiden and Fable were both around 30.
I actually just bought Fable at Game Over, and it was the GameStop exclusive with the bonus DVD, and that was still just like $10. Like,
Wow.
I don't know, but I have a hunch that Xbox is going to be the next GameCube. You know,
Wouldn't shock me.
in the next couple of years, there's going to be a huge push for original Xbox stuff. It's going to shoot up. That's just a prediction that I have. Who knows? I've been buying a bunch of it, so you might want to get on that train.
Hey.
Jade Empire Limited Edition complete in box is $11.31. So
What was the total again? Sorry.
total's $53.72. And then Forza Motorsport for the Xbox complete is $502. So nothing too expensive on my list this week. But there it is. Okay, Sam.
Very nice.
Sam, how are you doing on that spreadsheet there, bud?
I think I'm okay. I don't know if the ghost is working
No ghost
The
today.
ghost is ghosting.
last time.
All right, the ghost ghosted us.
I may be able to figure it out. I'll try. I don't know. I broke him last time. I'm using the same copy because I don't want to. If I did something that messed up John.
Yeah, sure. That's fine. We can let the ghost this time. Poltergeist is no longer a guest. But Sam, if you're ready, why don't you do your games?
Sure. I've got 4 games. These are all loose. The theme is pretty obvious because they're part of a series. So I have Hamtaro Ham-Hams Unite for the Game Boy Color. Hamtaro Rainbow Rescue for the Game Boy Advance. I will note that is a PAL only. This is the PAL version. It's not a PAL only game. It's a PAL and Japan only game. It did not release in North America. Hamtaro Ham-Ham Games for the Game Boy Advance. And Hamtaro Ham-Ham Heartbreak for the Game Boy Advance. All loose.
Thank God. Oh, Hamtaro.
I have played Ham Heartbreak. I actually love that game. No joke. Like that game's actually
That
pretty
is
fun.
I believe that is the most beloved of the series.
Yeah.
I actually haven't played it.
Yeah, I used to watch this show and I know nothing
But I
about
have
these
Ham-Hams
games.
Unite.
Okay. I'm gonna give you 120.
I'm gonna ghost this one. I'm gonna have to ghost it. I'm going 300 because I have no
300
idea.
for Dan, 120 for Seth. Okay, hang on, let me enter that before I forget.
What do we got?
The total is $113.40. That's pretty much dead on.
Yes. Love it.
Seth.
Unite for the Game Boy Color loose is $23. Rainbow Rescue PAL version for the Game Boy Advance is $22.08. Ham Games for the Game Boy Advance loose is $18.32. and Ham Ham Heartbreak for the Game Boy Advance loose is $50.
Yeah.
My
I figured
God.
that one. Yeah.
Seth, cleaning up, dude.
Man.
I was anticipating one of those games being like $200 just for no reason.
For no reason.
Just one of those games, that's what I was anticipating.
Complete in box Ham Ham Heartbreak it's well over 100, I believe.
That might have been what I was thinking, but
I
you
won't
had
lose
loosey
copy.
gooseys. Seth, hit us, man.
Thing to note there.
Oh, yeah.
Ham Ham Games and Rainbow Rescue were actually developed by Alpha Dream, the Mario and Luigi.
That is true.
No way.
Yes.
Look at those guys.
I actually credit it as helping them come up with minigame ideas for the Mario and Luigi series.
Love it. Love it. That's cool stuff. Seth, hit us with your list, man.
All right, guys. So I have got 4 games. All of these are going to be complete in box, and the theme is fairly obvious, and it's kind of serendipitous that the ghost ghosted us, because we're going to make up for it with a poltergeist themed list here.
Oh,
All right.
all right. I love it.
So all these are complete in box. First title is Geist for the GameCube,
Solid game.
Which,
honestly,
which is that's on the Keep Nintendo Weird list. for
love
sure.
that game so much.
The second game is my favorite DS game of all time, Ghost Trick Phantom Detective. The third game is for PS3, Murdered Soul Suspect.
Do you know what genre that game is?
So Murdered Soul Suspect is like a third-person kind of detective game, like a third-person adventure game.
Okay.
Are these complete in box?
These are all
They're all-
complete in box.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yep. And then the last one I have here is Ghost Master for the Xbox. Now, I should note this game was not released in North America. This is Europe only. Ghost Master.
You got a genre
And,
on that one?
Yeah, I looked this up because I'd never heard of it before. It just had Ghost in the title. It's a puzzle game. It's like a game where you have to like scare off people from their house. It's like a top-down puzzle game.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got 140 on that. I don't know what I'm doing with these games.
Okay.
I got 150.
Guys, the total is $150.02.
Oh my god.
If anybody
Sam.
ever asks me for my 2 cents, I know where they are.
They're right here.
Jeez.
Yeah. So the breakdown, Geist 3772, Ghost Trick 9816. By the way, I had the opportunity to buy that game for like $10. And this was right before, like, literally, I was like, nah, I'll pass on it. I'll get it some other time. And then I went to look at it like 2 weeks later, and it was, $200 or whatever. So, them's the breaks.
That's rough.
Fantastic game. I love that game so much. That is my favorite DS game. Wonderful game. Murdered Soul Suspect $6.13 and Ghostmaster $8.01.
Excellent. Excellent. Haven't heard of most of those games, but very, very good list. All right.
Ghost Trick in particular, seek that one out, man. That game is really special. It's made by Shu Takumi, the Ace Attorney guy.
Oh, well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So is this right? Yes, it is. Okay. I have 3 community members who all submitted lists for us this week. So we're going to burn through these as quickly as we can.
Do it.
Now, first we have the Ambassador, aka Fight Crab Fan, I believe as he's known. It's his alternate name here in the Discord. Giving us a list. We've got game number 1 is Siphon Filter for the PS1 complete. I have to switch over here and take my notes. We've got Quake 2 for the PS1 complete. Ooh, Quake 2, eh?
Quake 2.
We've got Small Soldiers for the PS1 complete. We've got Medal of Honor for the PS1 complete. All right, let me put my numbers in here.
But doof.
Who's got a guess for me?
I'm just gonna go for a flat 200.
Okay. Sam, what you got?
I'm gonna lowball it and say 125.
I'm gonna even lower ball it and say 40.
What?
So we are all over the map on this one. Let's see it. Okay. Total for these 4 games, $65.90, baby. What were you guys thinking? What was in your brain with those numbers?
I was like complete in box. These games like Medal of Honor and stuff like that. I thought that was going to be way more valuable.
Not Medal of Honor. Like Siphon Filter could have been
Siphon
up there.
Filter.
Quake 2 could have
these
been
are
up
beloved.
there. But
Total 65.
The total is $65.90.
Gosh.
Here are the individual prices. We've got Siphon Filter for PS1 complete at $10.98. Quake 2 for the PS1 is $19.99. That one actually got pretty close. I guess 20 on that one. That was my highest guess for Quake 2. Small Soldiers for PS1 is $24.90.
Wow.
Good. Whew. And then Medal of Honor for the PS1 is $10.03. And he's got a theme for us. It says, "My friends have GoldenEye, but I have a PS1."
I like that.
That's pretty good. I like that. Siphon Filter, Quake 2, Small Soldiers, and Medal of Honor. There were James Bond games that came later to the PS1.
I'm always so lost on PS1 stuff, man.
I'm in and out of it. Like there's some weird stuff there that goes for a lot of money that I've never heard of. But then like your typical fare for the PS1's relatively inexpensive,
Right.
But it's just, you just never know. Next up, our buddy Andros from our other favorite Nintendo podcast.
Hey.
What's their show called again?
Nintendo Pals.
Nintendo Pals, that's the one. I'm blaming it on the COVID shot. Brain fart. Let's see if I can pull him up here. Andros. Oh, he's online right now. Okay, here we go. Andros's list. I'll reveal the theme at the end. That's what he says. So, okay. Prince of Persia, Warrior Within, Greatest Hits for PS2, complete in box, specifically the Greatest Hits version. Interesting. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood for the Xbox 360, complete in box. America's Test Kitchen, Let's Get Cooking for Nintendo DS, loose. Alrighty.
Wow.
You know what? Yeah, whatever. Mario Party DS, not for resale for the Nintendo DS, loose. Is he getting tricky on us?
Not for resale.
Andros getting tricky on us. And Siphon Filter, Dark Mirror, and SOCOM Fireteam Bravo dual pack for the PSP. Now, if John were here, I'm sure he would have a handle on this price. I unfortunately do not.
Holy moly!
This is a wacky one, guys.
I'm gonna go $50.
50 on you. I'm still doing a little bit of math here.
70.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 100. Just kind of, we got 50, 70, and 100. One of us has to be close, right? You'd think. So here is the answer. We've got a total. Oh, no way. Okay, a total of $2.94, my guy.
What?
Okay, I'm gonna have to check on some of these.
Something is amiss.
Something is off. Prince of Persia: Warrior Within, Greatest Hits goes for 3 cents. I'm gonna just go ahead and put that in the old price charting and check that one first.
Oh way.
PS2. Yeah. Andros, I don't know where you're getting these numbers because I'm seeing $7.73 here in price charting, which means
I had 10 on that.
Which means that we're going to have to disqualify his list from the scoring because I don't know, bro. I don't know where the confusion came. Obviously, there was a miscommunication because these games definitely go for more than this amount of money. Anyway, I'll just go through what his pricing is. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood was 70 cents. America's Test Kitchen was 50 cents. Mario Party DS, not for resale, 71 cents. Siphon Filter, SOCOM combo for PSP goes for 99 cents. Yeah, I don't know, bro. You know, we're friends. I love you. I'm sure there was a mistake somewhere in the communication of where to get your prices, but those are not price charting's prices. And so unfortunately, that list has to be disqualified from our scoring. So Sam, I don't know if you can go back and take all that out.
Yeah, shouldn't be a problem.
Okay, cool. Sorry, Andrew. Love you, dude. Let's have you back on soon. I don't know where the miscommunication came. But we get all of our prices from price charting. If you're going to submit a list to us, that's just what we do. It's a nice, easy way to like keep the playing field and for us to verify the prices.
There's something weird on their end.
I don't know. Maybe he got like a different website or maybe, I don't know.
Price charting had a bug that day or something.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's weird. Maybe for that one day it was 3 cents.
Yeah, it tracked like one sale that happened over the course of the entire year.
Yeah, right. Something happened. I don't blame you at all, Andrew. Something weird happened there. But our third list this week comes from Trash Turkey. Good old Trash Turkey from the Discord community coming at us with a list. Let me go ahead and clear my numbers. And okay. List number 1, we've got Casper for the Super Nintendo, complete in box. Ooh, okay. Shining Soul 2 for the Game Boy Advance, new, sealed. Sealed, my guy. Very interesting. Game 3, Contra Spirits for the Game Boy, Japanese release only. Complete. Interesting. When people do Japanese only stuff, it throws me off a bit.
I'm more thrown off by the new stuff.
Yeah, new is tough. News. He's doing hard mode on us. And then Destiny Ghost Edition for the PS4, new. That is one.
I was gonna say he and I think he and I great minds think alike.
You were channeling. Yeah, the ghost was talking to both of you that day. Okay, well,
so was the Destiny Ghost Edition, was that new? Or was
yes, that was new. Do I need to repeat anything for you guys?
I don't think so.
Because I've got a doozy of a number here. I've got $750.
Okay, I'm gonna go for in the spirit of the ghost. I'm gonna go 300.
Okay, all right. All best luck. All the luck to you, Seth.
I'm just gonna play a mathematical game here and split the difference and go like 500.
Okay. All right. Let's see. I have a feeling that all of us are way under. I just have a feeling about
probably.
That. The total price $1,249.96.
Yeah.
Turkey.
Yep, sounds about right.
My friend, what in the world are you smoking, my friend?
I was doing so well up until this point.
Yeah, dude. So, you picked a doozy of an episode to be a guest on here. Okay, so let's do our individual prices here. Casper for SNES for complete goes for $340.01. Shining Soul 2 for the Game Boy Advance new goes for $295.35, which I actually kind of knew that one because I was able to pick that game up recently at a con and was looking up prices on it. Contra Spirits for the Game Boy Advance. No, Game Boy, sorry. Japan only. Complete is $300. I had no idea on either of these last two. And then Destiny Ghost Edition PS4. Brand new. Sorry. $314.60. Okay. His theme is, you broke the ghost last episode. Now the ghost breaks you. Soul Spirit Ghost games with values close to or exactly $300. Wow, man. We totally could have seen that coming too. Like, he gave us a puzzle and none of us saw that coming. And then
the good news is the Ghost is actually still losing right now.
That's good.
I just entered the 300 guesses into the guest slot since there's only 3 of us right now.
He says, "Have fun with this one, Dan." I didn't know what he meant by that, but now I get it.
Oh man,
bro, that's
accurate too, because that one murdered me. Absolutely.
Well, you're a ghost now.
I'm a ghost now.
Man, whew. That's how the game is played. It's just how the game is played. Oh man. Okay, so we're gonna play Flightsy's game here. We've got spot the. Actually, first let's do who won.
Scoring. Dan is the winner, pretty much by virtue of being least wrong on that last lot, with a total difference of $772.48.
My God.
Oh, Hachimachi.
You took some other rounds too. Actually, I'm not going to discredit that.
Seth, though, I gotta hand it to Seth. He got dead on, really close to dead on.
Those first 2 lists were legit. Yeah. I was proud of those.
Majorly.
I actually came in second with a difference of $845.36. Seth is in third with a difference of $1,101.94. And the Ghost is still in last, despite that last lot. Just because most of our other lots were very off 300, and because he still gets 300 on the whole lot. Yeah, he doesn't guess 300 per game. He guesses 300 on the lot, so he was also very wrong.
That was very wrong.
With a difference of 1,693.72.
Wow!
Last.
I tried to help you out on that last one, Seth. I think I said my number first.
Yeah, I was. I always, like, whenever I decide to go bold and crazy with it, always backfires.
Every once in a while you throw a Hail Mary and it works out, especially with Price is Retro. Okay, so let's play Spot the Fake game. This is a game that we thought would be fun to play. I was waiting for a guest to step up to the plate, give us some. So here's how this is going to go. Here is 4 names of games. One of them. Did he give us the answer? I don't think he gave us the answer in Discord. All right, well, we're just going to play it. I'll Google them and see which one is real.
Okay, there you go.
I think one of them is real. Now that I'm like looking at it. Okay, he called it Spot the Fake game. So
Spot the Fake game.
So one of them is fake, and we have to guess which one is fake. Well, let's go with that. Okay. So, game number 1 is called Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue. Okay. I think he's playing a game here. High School Musical, the series, the video game. Final Fantasy 7. Hold up. Final Fantasy XIII is 13.
13. Yep.
But dyslexia kicking in. Final Fantasy 13-2. And ball. Eyeball. Flightsy, you went off the rails with this one, dude. I don't know what to think.
So here's my line of thinking here.
Okay.
Eyeball, I assume, is one of those I Spy games.
Maybe.
I'm a Kingdom Hearts fan, so I can tell you that first one is 100% real.
Well, sure, but I'm wondering if he's like
make up Kingdom Hearts title.
No. I think it's the High School Musical one. That's my guess.
That's what I'm thinking.
Well,
too.
13-2 though makes me feel weird.
100% real.
10-2 is definitely real. I'm pretty sure 13-2 also. There was definitely a second Final Fantasy 13. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna Google these one by one and see what comes up. Kingdom Hearts.
Little Square Enix
musical one. You said it's called.
Yep, there it is. Kingdom Hearts HD.
It's already a musical. Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue is real. Okay. Number 2, High School Musical, the series, the video game. Is that what it's called?
That's got to be.
There are. Okay, no. Okay. There's High School Musical, the series, which was a show. But I think that's the one. I think we were right on with that. You guys were. Final Fantasy 13-2. We're just going to look these up for funsies now. Final Fantasy 13-2. There it is.
That's real.
Yep. That came out.
That's a thing.
I didn't know that was a thing, but there it is. And Eyeball.
I kind of preferred it to the normal one. Eyeball
video game is a pinball game for the Commodore 64.
Wow.
Wait, is this pinball? No, it's a vertically scrolling shooter. There it is.
Dang.
There it is. I think the wackiness of the High School Musical one kind of gave it away. But
there are some, yeah.
I'm going to be honest though, like I was questioning my sanity there for a second. Thank you, Flightsy, for that. That was enlightening and interesting. And if you at home want to give us either a Prices Retro list or a Spot the Fake list, where you come up with a fake video game and throw it in with a bunch of real ones and see if we can guess which one's the fake, you can either hit me up on Twitter, DM me, or at me at Retrologic Games, or you can DM me in Discord, and I'll give you instructions on how to do that. Hopefully you do that, because it's always fun to have some extra lists to go around, and we can get your name right on the show and have some fun with it. So next up, we are going to do our show topic, which is something very special in honor of our good friend Seth. We're going to talk some Halo 2. So stay tuned, come right back, and we will do that in a minute. Welcome back. We are here with our good friend Seth and my co-host Sam, and we are going to talk some Halo 2, which doesn't have a subtitle. Like Halo 1 was Combat Evolved. I guess after that they were just like, no, they're just numbers now, which is fine.
Yeah, they weren't planning on making it into a series. It was just going to be that first one. So.
Well, yeah, and I think once they started on the sequel, they were trying to make it a trilogy, and then they just kind of kept going.
It was a very Halo 2, as we'll get into, was a very ambitious project.
Yeah, big time. Let's talk first, because November 9th, 2004 was the actual release date, after quite a few delays. But what is y'all's personal experience with this game? Seth, you're the reason for the season, so why don't you tell us your kind of, when you got it, why you fell in love with it, and all that stuff.
Yeah, so I mean, I got the original Xbox, Christmas 2001, and I got Halo, that first Halo game, and that was, I mean, for anybody who was there for that, I mean, that was such a culturally significant moment, I think, for a lot of people, and it was just a total, I mean, going over to friends' houses, LAN parties, it was like just such a cultural like moment in time, the likes of which, was really only comparable to something like a GoldenEye. When Halo came out, it kind of changed the game. And so the hype going into Halo 2 was like immeasurable. And knowing everything that I know now in hindsight just kind of like makes me appreciate that game more. But like that place and time, like the build up to Halo 2, like the amount of anticipation coming off of how much everybody was in love with that first game and how much it completely changed everything, and being able to like go online with Xbox Live was huge. I mean, Halo 2 was such an impactful game to my friends and I, and like being able to do things like having a clan and stuff like this online. I mean, I maybe like I can sit here and talk all day about campaign and multiplayer and stuff like that, but I don't know, when it comes to online shooters, Halo 2 is probably the one that I've spent the most amount of time with.
Oh, wow.
In my life.
Yeah.
I love this game so much. Hugely important game to me.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm glad you're here for this one, for sure. Sam, I don't know that I've ever heard you talk about Halo.
Yeah, there's pretty good reason for that. I never had an Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
I have played a Halo more than one time. I don't remember which one it was. I had a college roommate who was playing Halo one night, and he's like, "Hey, you want to play some multiplayer?" And I'm like, "All right, sure." And that's pretty much my history with Halo.
Right on, dude. Well, we'll learn you something. Maybe you'll be interested. I don't know. We'll see. So almost all of my Xbox experience came from friends' houses until a little bit later, like during the Xbox like life cycle. I had two friends that each had an Xbox, and I mean it was always a great time, like, yeah, man. And one of them, it was pretty typical fare. Like I played like Def Jam Vendetta, Halo, obviously, Project Gotham Racing, that kind of stuff. Very impressive. And then my other friend just bought the weird stuff for some reason, and like for some reason, like also there's like a very specific kind of weird on the Xbox. So like sure. That's where we played Kung Fu Chaos and ToeJam and Earl 3 and Crazy Taxi 3 and this game Hunters the Reckoning, which is like a gauntlet style top-down multiplayer multi-directional shooting game. So like I kind of got a pretty good swath of like what Xbox was all about, but I never owned one. My brother bought one later, like I think it was, I guess it was 04, 05 even, maybe like Xbox 360 was on its way in. And he got one probably on the cheap because of the Xbox 360 launch. And he was playing stuff like Gun Valkyrie. I think he played Panzer Dragoon, but that's when I actually got my hands on stuff and really kind of like, I always really fascinated by the console, especially with the online stuff. But that's really when like it started to become like a reality. Like I'd buy games for cheap and try them out and kind of hit like a more mature. Like I played Knights of the Old Republic for the first time on the Xbox. Absolutely loved it. But Halo 2 specifically, like I have a huge love for Halo in general. But because I didn't own the console, it wasn't as much of like a specific point. Like for me, it was like, because I played it mostly at friends' houses, I don't know that I could even tell you which Halo I was playing. Sure, yeah. One or two. I guess based on the year you would know, but I certainly had a ton of fun, and there's a lot here in the development of the game that I find incredibly fascinating. That's really important to talk about. So let's jump right in. We can talk about the development of the game and a little bit of like the history of it. So just starting out, just like the understatement of the century is that it had a troubled development cycle.
Right. Yeah.
Time constraints and forced cuts to the scope of the game. Just like leadership leaving halfway through development really kind of was really difficult. Jason Jones, who had been exhausted shipping Combat Evolved, and then Bungie co-founder Alex Serapane left in 2002, which is like a year after the original Halo shipped. And people were still working on Halo 2. It's like, well, our leadership is gone, so now what do we do? Was any of that at the time, Seth, was any of that like public, or was it like we didn't find out any of this until later?
Not at all. I mean, especially not for me. I mean, when Halo 2 came out, I would have been 16. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, like, I certainly wasn't, in tune to that. So to my memory, no. But I mean, to put yourself in like the place and time that Halo 2 specifically inhabits, like when you think about Bungie as a team was they were, for all intents and purposes, an indie team who were making games like Marathon, which is like a Doom Quake style game, and stuff like this weird game called Oni. And then they started making Halo and developing it actually under Apple. And then eventually were bought by Microsoft and was, launched that first game on the Xbox. And it ended up being the killer app. Mm-hmm. And like I said earlier, the initial scope of Halo was not to make it this juggernaut series that would be associated forever with the Xbox brand like it is.
Right.
So when it came time, like when Halo Combat Evolved came out and it sold, all the copies and became the killer app of the Xbox, all of a sudden it was like, all right, cool. Where's Halo 2? And Bungie's like, Halo 2? you know? So I think that Bungie is a team, and I really recommend people, if you're interested in the development of the Halo games, Bungie has always done a really good job of documenting their development cycle. There are really, really good vidocs that have been thrown up on YouTube that I highly recommend people look at. Behind the scenes content. It's really, really good stuff. And it really gives you an idea of what development was like for Bungie during this time. Very stressful, very high ambition, very creatively charged. But like they were describing it as like they had all of these lofty ideas. Like, if we're going to make a Halo 2, it's going to be way bigger. It's going to be 10 times as big as the first one, And because of all of this stuff, it became more stressful. Things ended up getting cut, as you said, including like the game's ending. Like, I've heard it said that at least a third and maybe even up to a half of the game's planned content was left on the cutting room floor.
Oh my gosh.
Because they had such lofty ambition for Halo 2.
Yeah.
So. Yeah,
that's insane to think about. And you got to imagine the pressure that put on that team to try to live up to, what the original Halo ended up being. Hence the, people cutting and leaving,
right.
And so
a very different climate when it comes to crunch than what we have today, even.
Very.
Yeah, that's true too. Or now it's almost an expectation. I wonder if back then it was much more surprising to be like, oh, we have to ship this game. And I guess we can talk about the timeline of development, which kind of got a little just absolutely crazy. There was the E3 2003 demonstration, which was kind of a weird demonstration. I don't know how much you know about that demo, but it was kind of weird how it came about and what ended up happening as a result of it. So what do you want to tell a little bit of that story, Seth?
Yeah, so that E3 demo, and this is actually a big focus of the Halo 2 behind the scenes vidoc that I mentioned earlier, which again, I highly recommend you seek out and find on YouTube. They built that demo, and the idea behind it was, okay, this is going to be, like a lot of E3 demos, this is going to be a vertical slice. And back then, it was very common for people to make kind of a smoke and mirrors, pre-rendered kind of demo that wasn't exactly, indicative of what the final product was going to be. And Bungie was like, no, we want this to be a thing that Joseph Staten, the game's lead writer, could go on stage and actually play. So they designed all of this stuff, and they spent a lot of time working on this demo. And by the time we get to the final game, basically nothing from that final
Right.
demo is in the final game.
Yeah, they had to scrap like almost all of it. Yeah.
Yeah, which is so bizarre. I mean, some of the ideas are still in there, but the demo itself is essentially not in the game. And that's just one of many examples of the metamorphosis that Halo 2 undertook.
It's almost like if you remember the original like GameCube kind of like advertising as part of Space World, and you see the Ocarina of Time style Zeldas and Ganondorf fighting video, and
Totally.
that's absolutely nothing. That's 0% what we ever got.
That at least was just a cinematic.
That was a pre-rendered video
We're
for sure.
talking like
Yeah.
an actual like playable demo that didn't even get reflected in the game.
So
No.
how crazy to, as a team, and how disheartening to come out of that like well, what do we actually have scope for? What do you know about Phoenix, Seth? The canceled Project Phoenix.
Yeah, from what I understand, I mean, I don't know a lot about Phoenix, but I know that Bungie is a team that, especially when it comes to their leadership, and by the way, something that I think should be said about not only Halo, but Bungie as a company is they're no stranger to tumultuous development. Like even as recent as Destiny, like
Yeah.
even the original Destiny changed wildly from the final release, wildly. And when it comes to something like Phoenix, like that's just one of many Bungie projects that, you know, were kind of like sprung up and people were actively working on it, and they were trying to be, you know, creatively charged by something else, especially Jason Jones, who is kind of a legendary workaholic. Like they say in the vidoc, they're like, Jason just locks himself in a room for like a month, you know, and just works.
Goodness.
Like that kind of thing.
It's just that name keeps popping up, and so I'm wondering
Yeah.
if it was something that was either close to done or had really good legs that they had to they had to just
He's
cut.
one of the co-founders of the company, Jason Jones. He's still there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, incredible. Yeah, he yeah, so sorry, let me get my thoughts together.
no worries.
So we talked about the third act of the story being cut from the game, and which ended up being kind of a cliffhanger ending instead, giving us and one of the things that I wrote and is as a quote that I'm going to mess up is that they were hoping that it would be like kind of like a Empire Strikes Back style, like dark ending cliffhanger type thing where it's like, oh, there's still all this stuff to fix, but it ends. Do you remember like playing that campaign and what your thoughts were on that kind of ending?
So that's the funny thing is like when I was playing, I thought it was awesome. Like
Yeah.
I was like, I would have been more in that Empire Strikes Back camp of like, oh man, like I can't wait for Halo 3. But a lot of people, I mean, the Sir finishing this fight ending is like one of the most legendary video game cliffhangers of all time. And a lot of people were like, well, hang on, like I want to finish the fight now, you know? But to me, I mean, I didn't, when I first played that game's campaign, that game has got such a wonderful campaign. And I was not left unsatisfied whatsoever by that cliffhanger. It just made me want Halo 3 even more personally. So
Man.
the game, I mean, Halo 2 in general, and this is especially reflective in the campaign, is like the most incredible make lemonade out of lemons story, I think, maybe in the history of video game development. Like, it is insane that the game turned out as well as it did. And for my money, it is like no contest the best game in the series. Not even close. Like, that game is phenomenal.
Yeah, wow. I mean, just doing a little bit of research that I did really gave me a ton of respect for. I mean, it was reviewed insanely well. Like you wouldn't think any of this was going on behind the scenes based on just what people were saying about it at the time. You know, it was getting 9s out of 10s and 10s out of 10s over, you know, everywhere. Which just boggles the mind. Now there is one story about Ed Fries that I found particularly fascinating about the development of this game, where at one point Microsoft executives had to vote over whether to force Bungie to ship the incomplete game or to give them another year of development time. And Microsoft Studios head Ed Fries walks out of the vote and threatens to resign if they didn't give Bungie more time.
Yeah, which is really funny to think of in today's context, where Microsoft's kind of just making it rain all over these like 30 development studios that it bought up and owns.
Yeah, right.
Whatever. It's totally different climate now. Xbox had a lot more to prove back then. And especially when it came to Halo 2, I mean, there was definitely a ticking clock on that game, but then there were studio execs, you know, like Ed Fries, who knew that that it was important that game delivered as best as it could. That would be a hugely important game to Xbox. I would argue even more important than the first one was.
Well, yeah, basically putting Xbox Live on the map.
Yeah.
And they could not miss the 2004 holiday, because the next holiday was going to be Xbox 360 and nobody was going to go play Halo 2 on there. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you're right. You had this hard deadline, and they squeezed as much time as they could into you know what they did. I just think that like just the cojones on that guy.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
I read that and was in
he's
awe.
an interesting guy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the game launches November 9th, 2004. And you know, again, just to rave reviews from fans and critics alike. So do you remember picking up the game and like where you were and what the night was like? Tell me about that.
Picked it up day one.
Yeah,
we picked it up day one. My friends and I all did. We actually got permission. Our parents allowed us to skip school that day to pick up Halo 2. And I got the limited edition, like in the steelbook case, which comes with the behind the scenes DVD that has the vidoc that I mentioned earlier. And that game, just like that era in time, is really, really special to me, because like Halo 2 and the original Xbox, like that's just like, it's Mountain Dew, it's Pizza Hut, you know, it's like it's total, you know, it's Hoobastank and Breaking Benjamin, you know, it's like that kind of, you know, it's Jinko jeans, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's total, dude, I kid you not, in the vidoc that I keep referencing, they play The Reason in that vidoc. So like, it's completely mid 2000s. Like, it just takes me back to that place in time, just a very intensely nostalgic point of my life. So yeah, I mean, we picked that game up day one, and I think I was the only one in my friend group that got the limited edition, because even back then I was like all about spending as much money as I possibly could, stupidly.
Right. The shelf behind you does it's indicative.
Yeah. So, but no, just that game, man. Oh, I don't know how like off the leash I should get talking about the game.
Just keep it clean.
Yeah, well, yeah, I definitely that game is, I think, vastly overrated by a lot of people, especially when it comes to the things that people take issue with the game are like my favorite things about the game. Like, people whined about in the Metal Gear Solid 2 way, they complained about the fact that this game has you play and introduces a character called the Arbiter, which is, like, for my money, bar none, the best character in the entire Halo fiction. For those that don't know, Halo 2 opens. So, you know, spoilers for the end of Halo 1, I guess.
Yeah.
You destroy the Halo ring at the end of the first game, big climactic ending. And then in Halo 2, it literally opens with this character who is the Arbiter. He is the guy that was in charge of that operation on the enemy side, on the Covenant side. So you're seeing the perspective of the Covenant, of the guy who is being blamed for the Halo ring's destruction.
Oh my gosh.
And it kind of becomes like a Suicide Squad thing where they're like, okay, well, if you want to like redeem yourself, you're going to die anyway. But if you want to go after this guy who they refer to Master Chief as the demon in the Covenant. If you want to go after the demon and take him down or die trying, cool. Like we're going to kill you anyway kind of thing. And so you get literally the opening minutes of Halo 2 is a flash, between both Master Chief, who's getting rewarded and commended for his actions at the end of Halo 1. But then on the flip side of the Covenant, the guy who is getting blamed for that being like exiled and forced into this role of the Arbiter, which is like a suicide mission. And it's so cool. Like that, what a cool setup for a story. And like,
that's how you do a sequel.
So cool, man. Yeah. And like,
I can see how that would be divisive though.
But it is divisive for sure, because a lot of people are like, oh, well, I just want to play, oorah, I'm Master Chief. You know what I mean? And a lot of people just wanted Master Chief the whole way through. But I just found it so fascinating that like for 90% of the time you're playing as Arbiter, you're hunting the guy that we all played as in the first one.
Yeah, I can see the divide. I totally agree with you, Sam. Like that makes an incredible story. But like, does that necessarily make a good video game? Like, I don't know. Like, I'm playing as a hero. Do I want to also play as the villain? Because it's a much more interactive, like, how do you like reconcile those things in an interactive way? So I can see the divisiveness, but I'm also one to kind of like weird stuff like that. So
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. And it not only does it give you the opportunity to see the way the Covenant hierarchy works, because they all are under the kind of rule of these prophets. These three, they're called prophets, like these little floating llama alien guys. And it kind of becomes clear that they're misleading the entire Covenant. And it becomes clear later on, they introduce these new Covenant called the Brutes, who are these big, like gorilla-like kind of Spartan gladiator type characters. They have these like gravity hammers they're smacking people with. They're like these intense, bullet spongy brutes. And they're sort of like, you're literally seeing like the changing of the guard from the elites that you were fighting in the first game to the brutes in this one. And so it's an interesting way to like get the opposite side of the story. You're not just shooting like faceless aliens. These are people who have politics and a religion, and these are, they have a method to their madness, so to speak. And when you, as the Arbiter, learn that they're being somewhat misguided, it creates a really interesting arc for him and kind of turns him into a hero in his own right. And that carries forward into Halo 3 as well. I think his arc is so fascinating. And I think a lot of people got hung up on like, well, hang on, I want to play as Master Chief the whole time. And they sort of wrote Arbiter off as a character as a result. But he's super interesting.
That's very interesting. Yeah, I'm certainly interested in the whole story of it. And I definitely want to go back and play the campaign, because that's something I've never done. Never played the campaigns, but I love sci-fi, and I mean, you got me interested. So what can I say?
that Halo 2's campaign is so wonderful, and like the way it doesn't eschew, like, even though that stuff is in there, that kind of weird, oh, I'm playing as a Covenant guy now thing is in there, it doesn't shy away from those kind of like bombastic, oorah, I'm Master Chief moments either. And it also plays off of things like you introduce a character like Miranda Keyes, who is the daughter of Captain Keyes from the first one, who he dies. He's infected by the Flood in the first game. And now all of a sudden his daughter's in the mix, and she's like out for, kind of revenge. And she's got a cross to bear kind of thing. And it's really like, people, I don't think, talk about the story of Halo enough. Halo's really good story. I mean, to the point where they wrote like a dozen novels or something like that. It's got a really wonderful story and world to it. And I think Halo 2 has that more front facing than any of the other mainline Halo games. So good.
Awesome. Excellent. Thank you for that, Seth. That was honestly really interesting to listen to, especially as somebody who doesn't have a lot of experience with the campaigns and all of that. So before we duck out, let's talk multiplayer for a second. What were some of your most welcome changes to the multiplayer between 1 and 2?
That's an interesting question because I'm in kind of an unpopular camp when it comes to Halo multiplayer. The reason I love Halo 2's multiplayer so much is because, like, don't get me wrong, I like Halo 3, I like Halo Reach and stuff like that, but it's a bit of a bridge too far. They started introducing stuff like armor abilities, and all of a sudden you can sprint and aim down sights and all this junk. To me, I like just the classic Halo experience. I still play it today. Like, I still play it all the time today as part of the Master Chief Collection. And like, it's just a pure, unique multiplayer shooter experience that didn't reinvent the wheel that Halo 1, set out, but it didn't need to. And in terms of additions, I mean, Halo 2 added some things like you could hijack vehicles. There's dual wielding certain weapons, which is a big, Halo 2 thing. But I mean, for me, it was just kind of like the simple, straightforward formula that just worked from Halo 1 just made better. And the maps are like so good and like iconic. And again, like the Xbox Live integration was so brilliant. Like I just, like I said, we had a clan going and like we took it very seriously. I've spent like 16-hour play sessions, just full weekends doing nothing but playing Halo 2. Like it was intense. It was high standard. We would arrange like we would battle other clans and stuff like this. I mean, it was like intense. I love that game's multiplayer still to this day, and I think that it's never been done better. Like in the entire series, it's just never been done better. I still play it. It's so good.
Awesome. Fair enough. Good deal, Seth. Well, thanks for coming on. Thanks for schooling us all in some Halo 2. Hopefully we all learned a little bit. Sam, you going to go pick up Halo 2 now?
I mean, I still have Game Pass. I could play it. Master Chief Collection's on.
I will say, Master Chief Collection has Halo 2 Anniversary, and this company called Blur. Not only is the entire game like remastered graphically and stuff and looks beautiful, but Blur completely redid the game's cutscenes, and the game's cutscenes are already extraordinarily cinematic. The game is like a movie already. But then when Blur got a hold of it and redid those cutscenes, it is just still jaw dropping, like the work that they did to those cutscenes. So, if you have Game Pass, and it's so cool for me. Thanks for letting me come on here and talk about.
Yeah,
totes. Like I'm the Nintendo guy. I never get a chance to talk about Xbox. So it's cool to be able to talk about.
We're console agnostic here at RetroLogic. So
yeah. So definitely,
we try to
if you have Game Pass, Master Chief Collection has got Halo 2, and you can play it in its original form. You can play the Anniversary Edition, and it's all good.
Awesome, good deal. Well, thanks, Seth. Again, we are going to take a quick break right now. When we come back, we'll do a little community couch, and then we'll say goodnight. Welcome back. We've got a quick community couch question here from our good friend, the Ambassador, aka Fight Crab Fanatic. He asks us a very specific question. He says, you only have enough money for one of these rare PS2 finds. Which one do you choose? And they are A, Rule of Rose, B, Garfield Saving Arlene, C, Futurama, D, Time Crisis 3, or E, Silent Hill Shattered Memories.
What do we got? First of all, can I just say Guitaru Man? Can I just say Guitaru Man?
You got that? You
no.
Not sure. You should have submitted a question to the couch. That's you missed right.
out. No, for me, it would be Rule of Rose, for sure.
What is that? I've seen it, but I don't know what it is.
It's a survival horror game, but it's made by a studio called Punchline, who made a game called Shulip. that is kind of a cult classic. That's another like absurdly expensive, if I'm not mistaken, PS2 game.
That came up in the Discord recently as well.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
That is, I will just say, and I will say what I said there. That is the weirdest game I've ever played. Tulip, not Rule of Rose. I haven't played Rule of Rose. I've played some very weird games. Tulip is the weirdest game I've ever played.
Yeah.
Let's see. What do we got here? A monkey. We got a monkey conductor guy and some. Okay, it looks like a little adventure
your
game.
goal is to kiss everybody.
What?
Yeah, and what's interesting, so yeah, Tulip, your goal is to kiss everybody, but that studio is made up of a lot of old, I think it's pronounced Love Leak, is the old like 90s developer who made games like the Moon, which recently saw a re-release on Switch, and a lot of those folks have moved on to Onion Games, which is now a studio, and interestingly, they just released a game called Mon Amour, whose goal is to also kiss everybody. So it's like Flappy Bird, but you're kissing everybody. That's basically what Mon Amour is.
That's a $200 PS2 game, Tulip, and then Rule of Rose.
Yeah. And Rule of Rose is a like survival horror game made by that same studio. Completely different from Tulip. Couldn't be more different.
That is an easy $500 dollar game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good Lord.
It's like a psychological horror, survival horror, Brothers Grimm kind of thing. And I just, because of like my love for the weirdness of that studio punchline, and I would definitely go with Rule of Rose personally.
Well, wow. Okay. Sam, what do you got for me? You got Rule of Rose, Garfield, Futurama, Time Crisis 3, Silent Hill.
I'm not much of a horror game guy, so that leaves me with Garfield, Futurama, and Time Crisis. And I don't know much about those other two as games, so I'm going to pick Time Crisis because I've at least played that series in the arcades. And
Time Crisis 3 is solid. At least in the arcade. It's hardcore, man. I'm a big Time Crisis guy myself, so I'm kind of like all of them, but that's a solid. That would be my choice. If Futurama game wasn't on here, which has such a soft, I just love Futurama so dang much.
I love Futurama too.
I like Futurama. Yeah. I don't know anything about the game,
but that's the thing. I don't think I've ever played this game, and so I kind of like have to. I have to.
So expensive.
Is it so rare? Is it?
Yeah,
really good.
Let's go. Let's see a price on Futurama. Hold on. I think it just did not sell well, or it was very limited supply. It's on Xbox too. So the PS2 version is actually more expensive than the Xbox version, which feels a little backwards, I think. But yeah, $200 ish for complete in box PS2, $160 for complete in box Xbox version. And I don't know why, but the game itself looks very cool. I mean, the art style, they nailed it. It almost looks open. It almost looks like Grand Theft Auto.
That wouldn't shock me. Yeah, kind of tap into that Simpsons hit and run kind of thing. Yeah, that wouldn't shock me. Shout out to Silent Hill Shattered Memories. I've never played that game, but I know that it originally released on the Wii, and I think that is considered one of the more like favorably received Silent Hill games, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Oh, okay. Check this out. I did not know this. I'm sure everybody listening to this podcast already knew this. The cutscenes in the game are actually a lost episode of the TV show, making it very sought after by both Futurama and video game collectors.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm. It had mixed reviews upon its release, so only diehard Futurama fans bought it, and doesn't sell well. Is part of a beloved cult classic series. That's a recipe for a rare game.
Yeah, that's
sure.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. No Garfield. Nobody went for Garfield, huh?
And no Garfield fans, huh? Who's Arlene? Who's Arlene?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not up on my Garfield lore, but this game goes for $150.
Holy moly!
So, it's PAL.
Deal with that.
It's PAL only. Okay.
Okay, well,
That's interesting.
I just want to know who the heck Arlene is.
Yeah,
That's my thing.
Should I look up who Arlene is? No, this is not Garfield.
Well, I mean,
Garfield logic. Come on now.
I'm about to say this isn't Garfield logic. You'll be
Go look it up yourself.
If anybody does know, drop that in the Discord.
Or just don't. I don't really care.
You don't want to know who Arlene is, Dan.
I'm really not. I'm sure she's a female cat or something.
You'll be laid up in bed in a cold sweat tonight thinking about Arlene.
I'm convinced it's going to be very uninteresting, as is everything else Garfield related. So, I know, she's throwing shade on Garfield tonight. I'm sorry, guys. I just got to say it like it is. I don't have any love for Garfield as a character, cartoon, anything. He's fine. Like literally, the creator of Garfield made it to be sellable. Like he did it so that he could make money off of it. And it kind of shows. I don't know. So I had now have just ostracized every Garfield fan that listens to the show. So you're welcome.
No, we got plenty. It's all Calvin and Hobbes fans here in the Retro.
That's what I'm talking about. That's a real comic. Let's talk real. Come on, let's do it.
There we go.
Welcome to Sunday morning comics.
Yeah,
logic,
it's all Ziggy fans,
I guess.
Here
Yeah,
and family circus.
Far Side.
yeah, man.
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, we're about to wrap things up here at Retro Logic episode 57. Sam, you've been quiet for a minute. What's going on, but man, how are you? What's going on with you? What's your favorite Sunday morning comic?
Yeah, what's your favorite Sunday funny?
From you going after Garfield.
Right. I'm shook. Me and Jim Davis are shook from that.
But you know what? I'm okay with it. That's why we gotta clash some ideal. I don't know.
Are you a Garfield fan?
I'm gonna defend Garfield. No.
Okay.
Not really.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Like who like loves? I've seen people with tattoos, I guess, but like
cartoonists love Garfield. Ollie Moss, who is a fairly prolific video game artist, loves Garfield. Big into Garfield, that guy. So.
Okay, well, maybe I just don't see it. I'm sure it's a me thing. I don't know. Maybe it's the COVID shot. I'm gonna blame the COVID shot.
I mean, I have to admit, he's kind of bland. It's pretty vanilla as far as the.
That's what I'm talking about.
If you Google Ollie Moss Garfield, you will not be disappointed. So I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Well, there it is. The end of the show. Go Google Ollie Moss Garfield and have a blast. Seth, again, thank you so much for joining us. Why don't you tell the people where they can find you all over the internet? Sure. Yeah. So for Garfield cold takes and much more, you can find me on Twitter, my personal Twitter at $2 Hero, all spelled out, all one word. I do 2 podcasts. I do All In, a Nintendo podcast. Again, that is ALLN. We are at All In Podcast on Twitter, which is where you can find all kinds of links to all that stuff. That's, again, a weekly Nintendo variety show that goes live every Saturday that I do with my good friend and wonderful co-host, Eric. And I also do a show as part of that called Keep Nintendo Weird, which is a weird Nintendo podcast about loving weird Nintendo games, which both of you gentlemen love it
appeared on in the past.
Love that show.
That's at KNW Podcast on Twitter. So
excellent, good deal, Seth. Thanks again for jumping on.
Thanks, guys.
And come back down to Austin sometime, man. I'm probably not going to be in your neck of the woods anytime soon.
I wouldn't imagine.
You live in a very secluded.
It's like let me go out to the bayou of Louisiana, and if you ever happen to be out here,
I mean, you never know. But Austin seems like a bit of a hub. So yeah. So anyway, thanks.
Logic meetup, guys.
Yeah, let's do it. Austin, Texas. Anybody who comes to town, I'm willing to meet up and grab a coffee or a beer with, depending on what your drink of choice is. Anywho, thanks for listening to the RetroLogic podcast. We are proudly part of the Nintendo Dads family of podcasts. If you like what you hear, check me out on Twitter and Instagram at RetroLogic Games. You're also welcome to jump into our friendly and 100% non-toxic Discord community. The link to that is in my Twitter bio. You can also find all the RetroLogic things, the Discord link, the store, the blog, merch. Got some neato literally dinosaurs branded 80s looking t-shirts up there you can check out. You can find all that at the website retrologic.games, and then also go onto your podcast app that you're on right now listening to this and go subscribe to All In. Do all that stuff. Thank you. We will see y'all next week.
Bye.
Bye.